All right, so welcome everyone. We're excited to have Kirsten Austin join us tonight. She is our guest speaker. Kirsten and I met through a networking event, kind of a referral through the networking event, and we've had multiple conversations, and I can assure you she is fantastically awesome. So you guys will enjoy hearing from her. She is the president and co-founder of DCSC Inc. DCSC helps distribution and manufacturing companies with ERP, shipping, and supply chain solutions. It is also the developer of DC Warehouse Automation, which is a WMS. And Kirsten, can you define what a WMS is?
Sure. So WMS is warehouse management system. So yeah, anything like if you think of it, anything with barcoding, like boop, boop, move inventory around without having to key that information into your keyboard. That's me. And then we also do multi-carrier from a shipping perspective. So we're tapped into FedEx, into UPS, and into Purolator, and we can help people go, okay, what will get us the shipment there the fastest, or what's the cheapest? So that's kind of what the warehouse management and shipping solution is.
Awesome. So their down-to-earth team has decades of industry experience and is always looking for new and innovative ways to help its customers operate their businesses. So we, again, are very excited to have Kirsten here. So Kirsten, I will hand the microphone off to you. Cameras on, guys, microphones off until we have questions, and it is all yours.
And I was going to ask you, Stephanie, before we get into it, if any of your students want to just quickly introduce themselves, that'd be fabulous before I get started.
Oh, absolutely. So yes, we will introduce ourselves since we're combining two classes.
Like Lucy the Pirate, for some reason, I'm just like, wow, that's such a cool, okay.
I was going to say, Lucy.
Yes, yeah, I guess there is a bit of a story there. What is it? I fairly recently changed my name, and I wanted to change it on Google as well, but I didn't really know what to do for my last name, so I kind of like the moniker The Pirate, and I didn't take into account that it would show up here, but it's just kind of funny, so.
I like it. Just be you. You do you.
Yeah.
Very cool. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
All right, John P.
Hello, John Puskas. I am a former student with SavvyCoders and now a teaching assistant. A little bit of experience under my belt, but not much with the web development realm. So I've been teaching in the full stack. So it's been a learning experience as well as teaching. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. My last job was with Boeing, doing some scripting, and now looking to probably move into some sort of web development position.
Very cool. Very nice to meet you, John.
You too.
Thank you.
All right, Mark. You're muted, Mark. There you go.
Sorry about that. My name is Mark Wood. I'm getting into this a little late in the game, but I recently was given the opportunity to learn something for a new career, and that's what brought me here.
Very cool. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I'm 56, and I still feel like I'm 21 until I wake up in the morning and everything sounds like a firecracker. It's like, oh, God, it's not the same, but it's okay. It's never too late to do anything. Very nice to meet you, Mark.
Nice to meet you also.
Miss Hannah?
Hello.
Hi.
You guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Hannah. I've done quite a bit of programming before, but I did really want to get into web development, and I really love like the design aspect of it. So yeah.
Really cool.
Mhm.
So making it look like not only functional, but making it look pretty as well.
Yeah. That's what I enjoy.
Very cool. That's actually more important than you would think. Especially from like an end user perspective, people want things simple and not hard to get to and very catchy. So good plan.
All right. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
All right. Jada?
Hey guys, my name is Jada. I come from like a science background, but I'm trying to pivot. So yeah, I thought that this may be something that I would be interested in, mostly because when I was working in the lab, people were like breeding data. So I thought that this would be like a cool career to pivot into.
That's really cool. Yeah, never underestimate your background, because that stuff flows, and that shows that you're bright, and good for you. Great to meet you, Jada.
Nice meeting you too.
Wilson?
Thank you, Steph. My name is Wilson Mazimba, short Wilson. I recently came to the USA from Zambia. I came in June 2024 as a permanent resident in this country. My background is I trained as an economist and analyst, but back home there we are doing things almost manually. So when I came across this course of data analytics, I thought that would augment my analytical background and also economic background, so that I can easily get insights into data and things like that. So that is me. I haven't stayed long in the USA. I'm very, very new. Thank you.
You're welcome. First of all, thank you to the United States of America.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, were you able to survive this winter? Because we had some really nasty days.
Yeah, I think you have hit me. I'm really just staying indoors.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Mostly indoors, because I'm not used to the cold weather, especially the snow that fell. It was too much for me. But I think I'm getting through, and I'm getting used to it.
Yeah, you definitely want to I used to always, when I was younger, I always wanted to look cute when I left the house, and now I just don't even care. I'm like hats, gloves, winter coat, boots, 2 pairs of socks. I don't care. But welcome to America, and thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
Thank you.
Artel?
Hello, my name is Ertel.
Hi, Ertel.
Hi. I basically more or less like a tech background, more like gaming and computers. I've always had I don't know, I guess I always just kind of got as far as putting these pieces together. But I joined the career because I didn't know anything about coding, app designing, and basically little web development. So I'm trying to just round out the rest of it to be a little more or less pure IT.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for joining us tonight.
No problem.
Appreciate your time.
Brendan?
Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Brendan. I'm a recently retired Army veteran after 22 years. So got a background in project management and cybersecurity, making this pivot into full stack software engineering because I like the creative aspect of it. So doing that just really, gave me like a new spark, of creating things. So made this choice, and so far I'm really enjoying it.
That's awesome. And first of all, thank you very, very much for your service. You're talking to an Army brat. My father, may he rest in peace, got all the way up to the ranks of lieutenant colonel. So we used to move everywhere, and I appreciate your service to this country. And folks coming out of the Army, there's a lot of really good qualities there. You understand discipline, you understand independence, and you understand teamwork, resilience, resourcefulness. So you don't be shy to show that off a little bit if you're out there job hunting down the road.
Absolutely.
All right, Raphael.
Hello, everyone. Rafael Andala here. Hey there. So I would say I'm an old dog learning new tricks. As you can see, I'm not really young compared to the rest of the faces you're seeing here. I worked previously at Bayer, and I have a background in data insights, that kind of thing, but limited skills in programming and coding. I'm hoping to get some of those skills so that I can pivot into maybe data science or data analytics. And I'm currently enrolled in the data analytics class, which has been really good. I'm expecting to finish in February. The end of this month, I'll be good. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Good plan.
And Will. Last but not least.
Last but not least. Hi, my name is William. I'm 22 years old, and I've always been interested in creating websites, never really on the coding side. This is all new to me, but using stuff like Shopify, Wix, I've created a few websites for a few local businesses in St. Louis, mostly clothing and beauty stores.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, this is the first time where I'm actually in the back end, and yeah.
That's exciting. Really cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you'll have to, like, after today, I'd love to see the websites. I totally believe in social media. It's really important. And also, I even preach, even though we don't design websites, so to speak, I talk to all my manufacturing and distribution clients and tell them how important an online presence is today for everything. Your website's working for you 24 hours, and it's got to be clean. It's got to be simple. It's got to be nice. It's got to pop, because most people don't have a super long attention span. And if you're like me, I have ADHD, so I have no attention span. I see someone like squirrel gone, so you got to make it really pop.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good for you. This is exciting. Go ahead.
I've actually moved even to like management side. So I do have a business called Success Keys. And at the moment with my clients, I'm more of the maintenance guy. So anything goes wrong with the website, also just managing their social media.
Oh, really good.
Yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at. Yeah.
Very good. All right, you guys ready to learn something?
Absolutely.
All right, let's get to it. And then Stephanie, if you can tell me, can you all see my screen okay?
Yes, we sure can.
The only weird thing is now my little button to move to the next page is being hidden. Hang on, let me see something. Sorry.
Do you have two monitors?
I do not. That would be the worst thing for me. But it's okay. I got it. I'm good. Okay. So you all can see you can all see the screen. Okay. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Super cool. So what I'm going to be covering in this session is trends in technology that will definitely not be going away. I'm going to also talk about, since you all are going to be marketing yourself and you are marketing yourself, how to do it properly. I'm also going to discuss the do's and don'ts of competing for a new position, because we would like to think that we're the one and only out there, but we're not the one and only. And there's definitely things you can do to position yourself and to get noticed, without making it look weird. So I'm going to kind of go through that. I'm also going to talk about, and it's interesting that, several of you have worked for larger corporations. So you know, I definitely, if you have any feedback for me, you will not hurt my feelings, but I'm going to talk to you about small businesses versus larger corporations and to rethink it. And then I'm finally going to end with tiebreakers. So if you are one of those lucky folks that gets into an interview and you know there may be multiple candidates for that interview, you know, there's a certain amount of time where people are really thinking about things, and there's certain tricks that you can do to break the tie. So that's what I'm going to cover. I want to first of all, thank you guys for your time tonight. I was super stoked. I don't know why, like last night, I was excited. I couldn't barely sleep. I love talking to students. I just love people who are innovative and trying to do new things. As Stephanie mentioned, I mean, this is silly of me, but we're always looking for good people. And I never even knew about SavvyCoders until I was at a networking event. It was a kind of a how to build your business better and rethinking things networking event. And I just was happened to talk to a lady that was sitting at my table and telling her how hard it is to find like really good developers or, you know, find new people, because you know, it's always the same resumes out there in St. Louis. Like, you know, I want to start looking at new people. And she introduced me to SavvyCoders, and you know, this is a sweet situation for you all, because when I reached out to Stephanie, she got back to me immediately. We talked. I had a position open and looked at one resume, but fortunately for me, that position did get filled with someone who knew the code that I had. But that's how we got, you know, how close we got to hiring someone from SavvyCoders, and that doesn't mean that that can't happen here in the future. I'm the president and co-founder of DCSC. And I was a little bit nervous about this one because Stephanie asked, how did I get into this? And honestly, this is kind of a funny story, but eons ago, I went to school for commercial art. So, you know, if you ever look at our website and you look at, we've got a mascot called Buddy the Bull, because we take the bull out of manufacturers and distributors' operations. But I went to school for commercial art, and you know, I felt like I was pretty good at what I did. It was just a very competitive environment. It was very closely knit. It was hard to break into that. So I had always loved business and always loved like manufacturing and distribution. I still love it to this day. So that's why I started this company, really, is, you know, I didn't do well working for others. And I know that's probably a bad thing to say to y'all, because y'all are probably going to work for other people and have worked for other people, but I am an entrepreneur at heart. It definitely doesn't mean that I didn't work hard and it wasn't hard to build this thing up from scratch. And I'm proud to say I've been around for 30 years. But you know, what we do, as Stephanie mentioned, is we work with distributors and manufacturers. So, you know, at the core of our business, we sell ERP, which is enterprise resource planning, and that's just everything from order entry to accounting and all of that. But we developed our own software called DC Warehouse Automation. And we have that sold into North American distributors and manufacturers all over the place. And you would be surprised at some of the big name customers that we actually have using our solution that continue growing with us. So I'm really proud of that. And then just from a personal standpoint, I'm an outdoor nerd. This picture was for me in Colorado. I actually happen to own 9 acres way up there in the middle of nowhere outside of Gunnison, Colorado. And this gentleman, you can see his behind here, God bless him, but we were readjusting the American flag up there. He has land next to me, and him and his son took me up there, and that was really exciting. So that was one of my exciting trips that I took. So that's just a little bit about me. I'm going to go into trends that are here to stay. And, you know, it's really weird because I've been doing this for so long that, you know, there's stuff that was real trendy and then it went bye-bye. Like, you know, it was real big, like RFID was real big for a while. That's like an actual tag that goes in something to track it. And yes, that technology is still here and it's used, but it's not used as much as, let's just say, barcoding, where you're scanning a barcode. But I'm going to talk about trends that you all should pay attention to. And one of the first things that I want to know now, granted, you know, I love manufacturing and distribution, and this has been my gig for 30 years, but we definitely are growing. Love the politics or not, you know, things are changing politically. Reshoring is getting more popular, so that means more and more manufacturers or distributors looking to do business in America, produce goods in America, etc. And also definitely these guys need to and will be investing in technology. And you would be so surprised as to how backwards sometimes people are in their big companies. And you're like, how can you do this without an ERP system? I don't get it. But that's going to be changing. So that's really a big footprint. And these companies are going to be growing, and they're going to be needing folks like all of you. ERP, WMS, TMS, and digital transformation are imperative for growth. We kind of talked about ERP, enterprise resource planning, WMS, warehouse management system. TMS, that's a real fun one. That's transportation management system. So that's logistics. That's like loading the truck, booking the load, tracking the information, printing the label, tracking it in transit, tracking it until it gets there, the time, the mileage, who's the cheapest, who can get it there faster, etc. Digital transformation, y'all are already dipping into that, but that's huge. You know, everything is digital now. Everybody, if they want to order something, where do they go? They go to one of the big smiley box companies, or they look online and look on Google. You know, so those websites being able to interact appropriately and be catchy but easy are important. SEO is important. That search engine optimization, and all of that is very, very important. AI, we all know that that's big, and that is definitely not going away. But that's going to be huge for players like y'all, because AI, artificial intelligence is only as smart as what it learns, and it's only as smart as how you integrate it with a base system. And that base system better be clean, it better be on point, all that data better be accurate, or else AI is going to get a wackadoodle. But AI is not going away. And cybersecurity, OMG, if I could tell you this, cybersecurity is huge. I'm probably being politically incorrect that I wish I could kick every thief into another universe. You know, I guess I grew up, actually, we didn't have a lot of money. And so we had to earn everything that we have. We didn't have the Nike shoes and all of that kind of stuff. And we learned you earn what you have, you live within your means. And that translates into real life as well. But unfortunately, as fast as technology is moving, those thieves are moving just as fast. And they're not just moving that fast individually, they're moving fast together in teams. They're also writing code that's looking at things, looking for cracks. And we personally, because we're a software company, take security extremely seriously. But I can tell you that some of our clients have been hit, and it is not fun with ransomware attacks, etc. So coding, how you code, how you develop software is one thing. How you secure it is something else. So those are two very important critical things that we need to think about, especially now in the future, and those meld together. Also, software developers are in demand. They are in demand. You all are in a really good field if you're in cybersecurity or you're a software developer. You're in demand, my friends. And I will tell you that you're going to have to get, pull your feet up. You're going to have to, if you're brand new in the industry, you're going to have to get your foot in the door. You're going to get an entry-level position. But you stick with this and you're going to be in demand. And in fact, there's not enough developers out there. There's not enough cybersecurity specialists out there. So y'all are in a really good field. And people are really having trouble filling these positions. So the one thing I want to kind of talk to y'all about tonight is to not make yourself a secret. I hope y'all are still doing good. I'm just going to keep moving. The first thing that I want to talk to you about is marketing yourself. Even if you're a shy, person, and I have developers that work for me, and I love them to death. I say good morning to them every morning, and if we have lunch, very rarely do they talk a lot. They're very kind of mellow and quiet. And that's okay. You don't have to be an extrovert, you really don't. But you do have to be an extrovert to get noticed out there, because you're going to be competing for a position. So the first thing is, and this is really crazy, because when I meet younger people, they're not on LinkedIn, and I don't know if y'all think it's just an old fogey thing, but LinkedIn is really, really critical. So if you are not on LinkedIn, I highly recommend you set up an account. There's little tricks that you can use. Like there's applications you can download to get a picture and remove the background and all of that. I don't think I ever even had a professional picture taken care of myself, but I used a tool called Canva to just kind of make my face look okay and made my background look professional. You definitely want to put any kind of experience, and I don't care what that experience is. If you've been working, if you've been going to school, anything that could give value to yourself and make someone think, wow, I should start talking to this person. That's important. The other thing is you need to lock down or be really cautious about your social media. I will say this, I will not say this individual's name, but several years ago, I had a young lady working for us. She interviewed very well. She had a kind of a lower level technical support position, but still that's really important to us, because you're going to be interfacing with the clients and setting up appointments, etc. And one of my customers, a CIO, which is Chief Information Officer of a very large distribution company. They have 14 warehouses. They use our software day in, day out. Really good customer of ours. Called me on the phone and said, hey, I've got to tell you something. It's a little uncomfortable. I didn't want to put it in an email. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I'll call you right back. Called him right back. And he's like, the young lady that you have working for you, he goes, I'm really sorry, but I was just curious and I just Googled her name. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird for him to do. But then I thought, well, maybe not. Maybe it's not weird. I mean, he's spending a lot of money with us. I won't go into the particulars, but she had something out there on Facebook. She didn't have her Facebook locked down. And I wouldn't say that she was perfectly without clothing, but let me just put it to you this way. And I'm not even a prude. I was like, holy smokes. So basically it was very embarrassing. And I said, oh my God, thank you so much. His name is Sam. I said, Sam, thank you for bringing this to my attention. I went out there, I screenshot it, had to talk to this employee. And I said, look, I am embarrassed. And she was like, I'm embarrassed. I'm like, no, I'm embarrassed because, you know, you represent my company. And, you know, I don't know what you're doing out there, but you better lock it down. Moral to the story is just be really careful, because now before we hire anybody, we definitely do check their social media. So social media may work great for you. It could backfire. So, you know, whatever your political beliefs is, whatever you do on the side, that's fine. But just make sure you lock it down so the general public can't get to it. And I know that sounds like a no-brainer, but it's pretty important. The other thing I want to talk about is your resume. Your resume is extremely important. It is presenting you. So watch the grammar. I know it sounds like a gee whizzer. There's tools out there. There's I love a tool called Grammarly. It's like having a friendly English teacher just review all your stuff and give you gentle nudges, because even I have problems. Sometimes I always forget. I put a comma in between and, you used to not, you do now, you know, all that stuff. So definitely, you know, look at your resume. Don't make it super busy. Keep it simple. But remember, it's presenting you. So, you know, I know it sounds like a gee whizzer, but don't make all this crazy font. And, you know, I've seen resumes with pictures. I think those look pretty professional, but make it be a professional picture, you know, just your headshot or something. You know, don't have like curvy, goofy, silly stuff on there. And then also, this is another important trick, especially for the larger corporations. They actually, talk about AI. Wow, here it's popping up in this thing. They have ATSs, which is applicant tracking systems. So basically what those things are is your resume comes in, and you know, it's almost like being analyzed almost by a robot. A robot's looking at that resume, and it's looking for keywords, key phrases, etc. And it's sad to say that a human being may not be the first person to take a look at your resume, especially if it's a larger corporation. But, you know, the trick to get around this is, of course, you don't ever want to lie about your experience. You know, I'm always, you know, you tell people 100% the truth. But this is kind of a gee whizzer. A little trick is, if you're applying to a position there, pay real close attention to the verbiage they use of what type of applicant they're looking for. And don't be afraid to throw in and sprinkle those words into your resume if it makes sense, if you have that type of experience. So there's ways to get around that. Also, I'm a girl that always says last ditch effort for everything. So if you get turned down, possibly by a bot, and you'll know it if there's just like a goofy email, not from a human being, that says, I'm sorry, thank you for, you know, applying your resume. I hate to say this, but, you know, if you really want a position and you wait a couple weeks and see if it's still open, massage your resume again and play around with the keywords again. Don't lie about your experience, but play around with that keywording. Apply again, because you would be surprised at how many people have got an initial interview that have applied twice to the same company. Booyah! Write that down. That's a good one. Past jobs, that is really, really important. And I don't care what age you are. You know, what a job means, and if you carry a job for any amount of time, and I don't care if it's a job at McDonald's or a job waiting tables or a job delivering packages, or a higher paying job, if you're an assistant teacher, or, you know, you were an analyst in another lifetime, definitely show those off on your resume and think about it in your mind, how those skills could transfer to what you're trying to do. So, you know, let's say someone was trying to get into my company and they're new to being a developer, but they had a job at Amazon, you know, delivering packages, or they work for one of the big shippers. To me, that would be a positive because they work from the ground up understanding supply chain. So don't ever sell yourself short, and look at your experience, and also know that work ethic and having a job that's beautiful. I mean, I just admire anybody who works, you know, and also, I've talked to people that were out of the job game for a little bit. You know, either they had something where they had to take care of a parent, or they had a small child that they had to take care of. You can explain that cleverly in your resume, and you don't even have to be crazy about it. You can just say, you know, this time period, parented my newborn child, put some 3 things into it, you know, and then go to the next. It definitely, there's nothing wrong with that. The other thing I want to tell everybody, because we're talking about thieves and weirdos out there, is this is really, really kind of scary and spooky, but it's happening out there. So when you put your resume out there, and let's say you're using a job board like Monster or Indeed or something like that, you're putting your information out there, and that's going to get the attention of good people and bad people, unfortunately. And so the only reason I even found out about this happened in the last year when we were hiring a new entry-level developer, is the developer, you know, actually called us to make sure we were a legitimate company, which we were. You know, they looked at our website, they looked at everything, but there's a lot of funky stuff happening out there. So never, ever, there's also these unscrupulous, they're called headhunters, and there's some good ones out there, but there's some unscrupulous ones too that almost just play this game. It's like a dice game where they're looking at your resumes. They're coming across as a company that can fill positions for a fee, and they might not even know you from Adam. And then they'll say, hey, I'm a headhunter and I'm going to get you. Be really careful. If someone says they're a headhunter and you start talking to them, they better have a good website. They better have some references for you to talk to. It's your life. The other thing is, never, ever give out, like, on your resume, it is okay, because I used to say, why don't people put their address on their resume? And then I thought about it, you know, because I'm looking for people in St. Louis, obviously, because I like people coming to the office. It is okay to omit your resume, or not your resume, you don't want to omit that, to omit your address. And it's probably still very important to put your email and a phone number so someone can reach out to you. That, you know, that's critical, because I don't know how many times I've seen a resume and I'm like, oh my gosh, give that person a call, and we can't find their number on their resume. And it's like, what the heck, you know? And, you know, also make sure that your voicemail sounds cool. You know, for years I ran a group called College Bound, and our group, you know, the sole purpose of our group was to help young men get into college and find a college that would love them. But, you know, make sure your voicemail, you know, is very professional, because if a prospective employer is calling you, you know, you don't want to have like, yo, what's up? You know what to do, you know, or anything like that. Or, hey, you know, how you doing? No, just a simple voicemail. Hi, you've reached Kirsten Austin. I am so sorry I'm not available to get the phone right now. Please leave your name, your telephone number, and I will call you back as soon as possible. Boom, there you go. So again, marketing yourself, being really careful about how you appear out there, very critical pieces to the game. So here's the do's and don'ts about when you are fishing and you finally catch someone on your line. So you've got someone interested in setting up an interview. This may sound super goofy, but I cannot even tell you, and this is the honest to God's truth, of how many people came to an interview when we clearly told them how to get here to our office. I mean, down to where to park, what floor to take the elevator to, the suite number, etc. But people calling 10 minutes late, like, I'm sorry, how do I get there? Are you guys in this building? All that. Don't do that. Seriously. I know this sounds rudimentary, but this is just so unprofessional. Show up early, review the directions, dress appropriately. So for instance, in our office, we don't dress in suits and ties unless we are presenting in real life to a new customer, or we have a demonstration, etc. But so here we wear jeans, we wear shirts, etc. And we're pretty laid back, but when I interview someone, I always try to dress appropriately because I think they're looking at the first impression of me, and I want them to dress appropriately. And there's nothing wrong with even asking, what is the dress code? And if anything, you don't have to go crazy with it. I mean, we don't need to come, to an interview in a black tie. But if anything, just wear something very simple and basic, a simple button-down shirt. Half of my young kids here have the sleeve tattoos, and I really could care less. Doesn't matter to me. But when we have our customers come in for training, I say, hey, do you mind putting a long sleeve shirt on? Sorry, hate me if you wish. So just be careful with how you look. Present yourself good in that way. The other thing is do your research on the company and the position and the expectations for that position. I will give you another true life example. I just filled a position for an entry-level developer. And again, I got really close with SavvyCode. You guys are just very in at the end. But I'm glad that, I have this resource. So we had 3 people interview for the position. What we did is we sent them an email. We sent them a link to our YouTube video that was a demonstration of our software that was only an hour and a half long to look at, because that was going to be the software that they were working on. And then we sent them a link to one of my podcasts on the supply chain industry. And that was like a 30-minute one. And we were really honest. We said, hey, we had 20 resumes. We've narrowed it down to 3. We're going to bring everybody for an interview, narrow it down to 2, and may bring you in one more time. And we are going to hire by this date. So of the 3 candidates that came in for that interview, only 1 person viewed those videos. Come on. Very simple. So it was what? An hour and a half plus maybe 45. Okay. Maybe 2 hours, 15 minutes tops to look at the videos. Not only did she look at the videos, she wrote down an outline of what they had and even wrote down some questions for us. So right away, positioned herself in front of everybody else. The other thing that I think is very professional is to send a thank you email. And you don't have to be Shakespeare. It doesn't have to be 18 paragraphs, because most of us, even if we don't have ADHD like I have, most of us have the attention span for 2 paragraphs. But a thank you email is a very nice touch. And if you express why you'd like to work for that company in that email, and also say, and if you have any additional questions for me, please just let me know. I'd be happy to talk to you on the phone or email you again. And this was one that my employee Michael came up with. And just to let you know why, smaller companies such as mine and other small companies out there are super cool, is Mike, my director of support, just to show you how much hope there is out there in the world. He started off just doing very, very small things in a part-time position for us. Then he moved up to just yielding support calls and getting them to the right people. Next thing you know, he started doing support. Next thing you know, he ended up going to school, working for us in the evening still. Next thing you know, I thought I was going to lose Michael. I called him Baby Mike, but he's not a baby anymore. I think he's almost 29 now. I thought we were going to lose him when he got out of college because we were just a part-time position. You know, he came up to us and said, hey, I would really like to stay on here, but I need a full-time position. He got a full-time position. So we moved him into technical support. As the years went by, he just kept progressing. And now he is director of our support. So he has people that answer to him. So Michael told me this one, and when he told me this, I almost got excited. I'm like, oh my God. I go, if anybody says this, I will just almost hire them on the spot. But if a prospective employer asks, do you have any questions? Here's a great one. If you were to hire me today, a year from now, how would you know you made the right decision? Booyah. Great question to ask, because number one, you're not me, because, you know, you are important, but until you are hired, you're still in competition. And, you know, companies, you know, they don't want people that are me. We want to know, are you going to do good for me? And then we can work together and be we. So this is a really, really good question, because number one, it's showing you that you want to work with them and stay there at least a year. That's excellent. And then also you want to know, you know, what they need to do a good job for you. So put that in your bag of tricks. We've only got 2 more slides, and I'll try to make it interesting and quick. And again, I thank you all for your time and love doing this typical thing. So larger corporations, and a couple of you have worked for them, and nothing against larger corporations. I buy things from larger corporations. I work with larger corporations. I have larger corporations as customers, you know, so I'm definitely not kicking them. But I still think that the workforce needs to kind of open up their mind to smaller organizations. So let me kind of tell you what I know for facts is larger corporations will typically have a higher starting salary. Yep. They have more money to play with. And they, you know, it definitely, I mean, 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to have a higher starting salary. They're possibly going to have a better benefits package because they're a large corporation. So they're employing a lot of employees, and, you know, they can leverage that and they can look at that. It may sound more impressive to your friends and family. I work for this big XYZ. Woo, okay, cool. More positions open. Yep, they definitely, you know, have more positions open. And I do know for a fact that a lot of times they'll hire multiple people at the same time so they can train them up at the same time. It's kind of a long-term strategy. If they have to let certain people go, at least they have trained people up at the same time. So, you know, don't just think because, hey, they have 8 positions open that, and you get hired, that means you've sealed the deal. And then also a structured environment. So, and a lot of people like working in a structured environment. You know, personally, I never even missed a day of work because I cannot work at home. My ADHD gets the best of me. If I worked at home, I would be doing dishes, throwing in a load of laundry, doing this, doing that. So I have to drive to my work here on the Hill in St. Louis, Missouri. And, you know, I need that structure. So definitely larger corporations have more structured environment. So that could be good and that could be bad depending on what your cup of tea is. Let's talk about smaller corporations. Wink, wink. Number one, I can guarantee you this: we are more transparent in the hiring process. You know, I hate to say this, but I hate hiring people. I hate firing people. I hate firing people worse than I hate hiring people. But I've been doing it for 30 years. And I'm a very kind person, and I don't leave people hanging. I don't ghost people. I think that's rude. I hate that when people ghost people. And I know that people do that. You know, they'll say, hey, we're really considering you, and then you don't hear from them. On the flip side, I hate it when candidates ghost you. You have an interview, they don't even show up. What in the hey? But definitely, you know, we have a more transparent hiring process. Definitely better attention and flexibility to work-life balance. And I know that's kind of a cheesy thing, but I can guarantee you, I have a lot of friends that are small business owners. I'm a small business owner. You know, if I have a really good team member that works really hard, you know, for instance, one of my, you know, Michael just had his first child. He needs to work at home on Tuesdays and Thursdays now. I said, absolutely, we're going to make this work. We can do that. I have another employee here that, you know, I love her. I want her full time because I need her full time, but she doesn't want to work full time. She's, you know, near her retirement age. She wants to stay in the game. She's excellent at what she does, but she's like, Kirsten, I'm sorry, I just can't work an 8-hour day. I mean, I'm sorry, I can't. Okay, we gotcha. The other thing is more exciting projects, because you're not going to be doing the same redundant work day in, day out. When you're working for a smaller company, you're going to be doing a lot more different tasks. Hopefully you'll be cross-trained. There's always going to be exciting things coming up. And like in my business, like right now, it's pretty exciting. You know, we have a customer going live on Thursday, and going live means we've tested on everything in our software. We've double tested it. We've trained their people, but they're actually turning off their other system and switching on our system Thursday and Friday. So my employees know that everybody's hands on deck and we're all to work together, because if any last little minute thing comes up, and sometimes it could be something really silly, they need a label printed out with their logo on it. We didn't catch that. Woo, let's do it. Let's get this done. Let's smoke it out. So definitely, yeah, you know, there's a little more excitement in my humble opinion. Also, don't knock small businesses, because we contributed 55% of the total net job creation from 2013 to 2023. And I got that directly from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So we are adding jobs. We are hiring people. Also, a more personable environment. You know, during the hiring process, we are extremely personal here. And then every day, you know, it's not to say that we sit there and talk about personal stuff all day long, because we are here to work, but we definitely celebrate every single employee's birthday, their work anniversary. If anybody needs anything, we all just work together as a team. If anybody has a hard time, things happen. In 2017, my mom died suddenly. I was a wreck, and my team was like, I mean, they stepped to the plate. They're like, we got you, we got you. So these are some really good things that you want to consider when you're looking at smaller versus larger corporations. And then also, if you make yourself valuable, you're going to have better job security in a smaller corporation, because onboarding is very, very expensive. And so if I've got an employee that knows his or her job inside and out, and we have a rough year, we'll, you know, we won't talk about after 9/11, somehow my company survived that. We won't talk about the whole COVID situation, which was a pain in the behind for employers, but, you know, we got through it. But the first thing that I do is like, I'm holding on to my team. I got the right team here. So we'll make some other changes, but I'm not cutting the team. So all of that is good to keep in mind. I'm going to finish up with tiebreakers. So number one, never, ever underestimate the importance of being kind to every single human being that you meet. And, you know, I will give you an example. I have an assistant. Her name is Susan. I cannot live without her. Like, she knows my schedule. She knows everything. But if anybody ever came in there and just treated her like my assistant, do you think that would make me want to hire them? Absolutely not. So just be really careful. I mean, that's in life in general. Just always be kind. There's too much hate in the world. I'm not into hate. I'm into kindness. Don't be obnoxious, but don't be afraid to follow up with an email or phone call after your interview. Like I said, definitely send that thank you one. Watch your grammar. Maybe throw in a couple things like you're here to, answer any questions. If you have not heard from the company and you don't know if you're still in consideration or not, and that's, probably that's a nail biter. I see absolutely nothing wrong with a simple email that states this. And I think this is a really professional way of, just kind of, people don't like to be forced to do anything. And if people are still kind of trying to make their mind up on someone, I think this is a really nice way to break the tie. But, send a simple email. Thank you, Kirsten Austin. I appreciated interviewing with you. I don't know if you have filled the position for your entry-level developer yet. And, if you have not, I am still very interested. If I am still in the running or you're leaning towards someone else, but still I'm in consideration, I would love to answer any questions or talk to you with no obligations. Something very simple like that. That really is a nice last ditch effort. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And then again, your past jobs really mean something. You served in the Army. You better highlight that on your resume. You came here from another country and you can speak English. Oh my gosh. I mean, highlight that on your resume. You worked in a past profession and you've decided to pivot and try something totally new. Highlight that in your resume. So definitely talk about your past and your present and where you want to go. This is going to end my presentation. This is Momo. He's my dog that comes to work with me every day, and he's been snoring right by me, and I hope that he didn't come through on this on session for you. But I want to thank all of you for taking the time to view this. I certainly hope you learned something. If you definitely want to connect on LinkedIn, here's all my info. I gave Stephanie a copy of this to hand out to you, so y'all have this for your tips and tricks. And that's basically all I've got. And Stephanie, if you want to help me open this, I don't know how to get out of here now, but open it to any kind of questions. I'm here for you all.
So there should be a button on your screen that says stop presenting. Should you choose to stop presenting, or you can go to the box. If you could see it, you might not be able to see it.
Oh, cool. Let's see. Oh, found it. Yay. Woo. Got it.
Right. And then I know we've got some questions. So if you guys want to raise your hands, and Kristen will call on you as those come in.
All right, Mark.
I had a question right before you started talking about large business versus working for small businesses. You said a question that this gentleman said to repeat at the end of an interview. I didn't get to write it down. Could you say it again?
Yeah. And also, Stephanie, you agree that you're going to give this out to everybody?
Absolutely. I'll post the slide deck in both class Slack channels.
Okay. If an employer asks, do you have any questions? Ask, if you were to hire me today, a year from now, how would you have known you made the right decision?
Thank you very much.
You
That's
are
a good
very
one.
welcome. Mark, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing upstairs that they're hiding you in the basement?
This is where my office is. So.
I'm just teasing you. I'm teasing you.
I haven't been banished.
No, but good question. So definitely, I would definitely throw that at a potential employer.
Okay, thanks so much.
You are very welcome.
Any other questions, Martel?
Yes. I was going to ask, as far as how you put it.
So as far as like job searching and for I guess us as developers or anyone else in the I guess tech side or coding side of the field, what would you suggest? What would you suggest be like the I guess the first thing to try before anything else, as far as like filling out applying for smaller business or smaller companies, or should I apply for larger ones? Or should I try to get more schooling? Or so, which direction would you?
I would apply for both. If you're trying to get your foot in the door, you know, you need to find a job, obviously. And you know, regardless if it's a smaller company or a larger company, you got to get over that hump if you've never, you know, because I mean, you just got to get over the hump. So I would apply to both if I were you. You know, and then the other thing is I would definitely, like I talked about, play with your resume, make sure it looks really nice because you're presenting yourself. And then I would also start looking at, you know, the job posting boards like Monster, Indeed. I forgot, there's like a couple more. I would also definitely, like, I'm not shy, you know, but on LinkedIn, there are certain things you can put that puts a little circle around your, like your profile that says looking for work. I haven't played with that. Like that may be a good exercise for one of you to do, to play with that. But if you're on LinkedIn, make sure that looks crisp, clean, nice. But I know you can put a little banner that says looking for work. And, you know, I'm not shy with anything. So like, if I have a friend that's looking for a job, I, you know, repost their, you know, hey, this is a good person. They get, you know, so just think it's a numbers game. You gotta get your resume out there. You got to get yourself out there, you know, because until you get that interview, it's a numbers game. And then of course, you know, pay attention to those ATS or application. I can't talk right now because it's the end of the night. Applicant tracking systems, because they have little, you know, they're like looking for certain key technologies.
Before
So you definitely want to massage your resume.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I think that was the only question I had. And you also answered a couple of other ones in there too.
Thank you. Wilson.
Well, thanks a lot. Thank you very much. This has been a very good presentation, an eye-opener. I thank you very sincerely for your presentation.
Thank you.
Especially for some of us who are just trying to join the job market here. I've got two questions and one illustration. The first one is on the Internet of Things. Internet, AI are growing, and it's an imperative. Don't you think that this is would be a threat to the jobs that we are fighting to join? Because well, somehow, somewhere, the jobs will be done by AI, machines, Internet of Things, and things like that. So, what do you think of that? Secondly, on social media, some families have got people who are social media savvy. The person like me, for instance, may not be all that savvy, but let's say my child or my wife or somebody else is on internet. Does that affect me as a job seeker when my wife or my child or somebody else related to me is the one doing this? That's number two. Number three is just a demonstration of what happened when you spoke of the good and bad people. I myself have experienced that. I put my resume on Monster, and I received so many unsolicited calls and also email notifications that, oh, I'm hiring. I'm a job hunter, what, and they have sent to me. On 3 occasions, I proceeded even to answer the so-called interview via Skype and things like that. But then I knew later that it was a scam. So how can we protect ourselves against things like that? Because we are genuinely placing our resumes on Monster, especially Monster. Monster is a lot of scamming going on there. I've experienced.
Kirsten,
I was so happy, but then this happened to me.
Yeah.
can I interject there just real quick
Sure.
before you answer it? So Wilson, on Monster, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Career Builder, when you create a profile for yourself, you can check a box to select to hide your resume and set up a job notification for yourself so that if a position comes open or a job comes open with certain keywords, it notifies you, and then you can go in and apply for that job. So that would be my recommendation on any and all job boards, is to hide your resume, hide your information, and set up those job notifications so that you're not getting all of those scams.
Okay.
Because there's trolls out there that just troll those job boards and steal your information. My son, this happened to him. I've spent 25 years in technical IT recruiting. I received my son's resume, who was not in IT, from an IT staffing company that was based overseas. So out of curiosity, I called the phone number and got somebody on the other end of the line that did not speak English, full well knowing that this was not my son. So you have to be very, very careful with that. When you're talking to IT staffing companies or recruiters, so the in-mails that you're receiving on LinkedIn, do not give out any information about yourself. You can engage in conversation if they're requesting a conversation with you. Absolutely, have a conversation. It doesn't hurt to have a conversation. Do not give them a copy of your resume until you know the company that they're representing, the compensation range that they're representing, their contact information, benefits of the position that you are potentially interviewing for. You get all of that information up front, or you do not give them a copy of your resume or any personal information. Okay?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
That's clear. Yeah, thank
So
you.
with social media, I'm sorry, Kirsten, with social media, if your social media account is marked as private and only the people that you have in your friends circle on social media, they're the only people that can see. If your daughter, son, daughter, wife tag you in a social media post and your account is public, then everyone can see that. I had to unfriend my uncle on Facebook because he is politically charged. And I use my social media more for less personal, more work stuff, especially with SavvyCoders. But I had to unfriend my own uncle for that very reason. So just make sure that your social media accounts are marked as private.
Thank you, Stephanie. So you got 2 and 3, and I will take 1 on AI. This is something that to this day, like, you know, you don't want to argue with people. You don't want to, scare people, but AI is a newer technology, just like, I was around when the World Wide Web, that's the internet today, but the World Wide Web was started, and people were, hey, aren't you worried that, and as we all know, the internet is phenomenal for certain things, but it's not phenomenal for everything, because people can post whatever they want up there and it could be a total lie. People control you on the internet, so there's good and bad in everything. But what I tell my own customers, my manufacturing and distribution companies, is technology, including AI, are tools. And if those tools can remove anything that's redundant. So if someone's doing something multiple times, maybe they're keying into this software, then they're keying into this software, then they're doing this, that's redundant. So that's, you know, where technology comes in. Like, you know, I have people that are afraid that robots are going to rule the world. You know, robots are good in a specific area. If they're in a warehouse to go pick the same product each time and go down, great. Then free up those great employees you have and add them to your customer service team and start calling more customers and seeing if they want to buy something else. It's not replacing a human, but if you're, you know, getting rid of a manual or a redundant process, that's good. You know, but as I mentioned before, like, you know, we definitely leverage some AI, like, you know, and for instance, large corporations will use AI to look at resumes, so that AI, instead of having a human being read, okay, here's resume number 1, okay, resume number 2, it's just not going to work like that. But do I think AI is going to take over the world and take over humans? Heck no. AI doesn't have the same sense of humor that I have. You know, AI doesn't understand nuances. So, you know, it's very scary to some people, but it's just like anything else. Technology is a tool that, when used correctly and used for the right reasons, it can be good. But I can definitely tell you, AI will not go away. This is here to stay. Hopefully that answered your question. AI is not going to drive me home tonight. AI is not.
Thank you very much. I'm clear with that. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Any other questions? Raphael.
Yes, I have a couple of questions. I don't know how long we have, but I know Stephanie knows the way I am. I have like 30 questions, but I'll try to keep. I'll prioritize the ones that I think make sense. So maybe the first one I can ask, and this could be on behalf of everyone. So like for us in the next 6 months or maybe 1 year, what are the core skills maybe we should focus on to make ourselves have value and be relevant in this particular market?
What are you saying?
So for us in the next 6 months or 1 year, right? If you had to focus on specific skills and expertise, what would be your recommendation?
Okay. Are you developer, cybersecurity? Which one?
I'm thinking of, so for myself, it's more data science, data analytics.
Yeah. The very first thing is you know, if you're going to data analytics, you definitely want to understand the trends right now. You want to understand what software, you know, what software people are using and what they are developing for. So I've got, and I put that on the end of my slide, but I've got, because I won't be able to go through it right now, all of it. But I've got a really good, on the Getting to Know Kirsten Austin page, it's acronyms used in the industry. But when you're doing data analytics, obviously you're doing this, you know, in software with data. So the first thing is you really will need to understand just some of the terminology out there. Like, people use business software out there. Business software is called ERP. There's a whole bunch of different ERP systems out there. There's SAP, there's Oracle, there's Sage, there's Acumatica. Are these ERP systems cloud-based, meaning they're hosted somewhere else, or are they on-premise? What applications are, you know, you need to understand what are the applications that use that. You know, if you're an analyst, where's that data residing? Is that data residing in a SQL database? What's the backend database? You know, so I would definitely get yourself familiar with the terminology, because it's pretty much the same across the board, regardless if you're a manufacturing company or you're a school or you're a construction company. You're going to use some form of ERP software. You're going to have some form of a database that you know, holds the majority of your data. And you definitely want to understand the nuances of other things. If things are coming in via the web, how are they coming into the system? What's the security looking like? You know, are they automatically hitting the ERP system, or are they hitting like in a middleware before they touch that? You know, how do you maintain the data integrity? That's a really huge thing. I talk to my customers about that all the time, because just simple things like they don't have their systems locked down. So anybody can go, hey, we started selling, you know, this item, you know, so I'm going to key this in as a partner. Well, it's already in there 3 times. Well, now you've just messed up your MRP, which is your material requirement planning, because it doesn't understand that this is like not, you know, it's not 3 different parts, it's one. So just understand the terminology really well. And like I said, it may be boring, but look at my website and look at some of those podcasts that I have, because some of them are perfect just to understand the terminology. Hopefully they answered your question.
Yes, it does. I think understanding the business language and terminology for whatever you want to do is definitely very important, because I think that's why it shows you have the experience and the value for whatever you're seeking. I totally agree. My next question is a bit different. Since you're a business owner, and it depends on how you define small, right? I think small could still be a big company, right? To some of us. So I think that's the tricky part. But for here, I'm just thinking like a big corporate company that has a lot of revenue, 1,000 of employees plus, right? And something else maybe less than 500. That's how I'm thinking of small business. So for yourself, what would you say that, because we know some businesses are good, others not so good, right? What tips can you have for us to identify like a good business to work for, a small business, right? Because some of them won't be great.
Right. First of all, you just ask a really good question, because it's funny, even the software that we sell, like we picked up a new ERP that we're going to sell called Acumatica, and it's good for small and mid-sized businesses. And everyone, I mean, I've seen it from, you know, from different webs, you know, different references. They're different, you know, but the way that I personally look at it is a small business to me is 500 employees or less. So you can be real small, like, I won't tell you all my secrets, but my company's pretty small. We're under 25 people. So, really, when you start looking at your larger corporations, those are your Fortune 500 companies, thousands of employees, etc. So that's kind of my differentiator. And I also, to me, I consider a small business like if you're making, between 0 and 100 million, to me, that's still a small or mid-sized business. And that's not chump change if you're at 100 million. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you're profitable at 100 million, not losing money at 100 million. But yeah, definitely, when we think big, we're looking at your Fortune 500 companies. You're looking at your Amazons of the world. You're looking at your, Walmarts of the world. You're looking at your InBev that bought Anheuser-Busch. Those are your larger, to me, that's how I define them.
So things that you can look at, Raphael, when you're interviewing with a company, the more questions you ask of that organization or the team that you're interviewing with, you get a feel for how they work, the projects that they're working on. Why is the position open? Is it due to high turnover? Why is there high turnover? So the more questions you ask
I like that.
while you're going through the hiring process, will determine, you'll help you to make a decision on whether or not that company is the right company for you or that team. You may not necessarily be super excited about the company, but you may fall in love with the team and the work that they're doing.
Yeah,
That's a really good point that you brought up, Stephanie. And another little trick, I wouldn't even say trick because that sounds a little shifty. Another good thing to do is what we volunteer when we interview people is we explain our environment. Like, I know this sounds silly, but I bring my dog to work every day. And, you know, if someone doesn't like, now my dog is very friendly and he usually sniffs out the first, you know, whenever we have a new employee, he's all over them. He's by their desk, sniffing them out, laying there, loving on them, whatever. But, you know, we're a smaller company. I bring my dog to work every day, you know, so I usually explain the environment. There is nothing wrong with an interview with you asking about what would a day in the life of be for me in this position. You know, am I going to be working with a team? Do we work more individually? How do we communicate? You know, stuff like that, because that is going to matter, because you don't want to work someone that's, you, no matter what, we got to work. Well, unless we, you know, win the lottery or something. And, you know, so we all have to work for a living. So you don't want it to be an environment that you don't want to work at. Like I have a friend, really, really good friend. And she just got a job for a very, very large corporation. Great pay, great everything. And 6 months into it, she's like, I hate this because it's so politically charged, and people backbite there, and everybody's trying to, the way that the leadership works there is they're not trying to get people to work as a team. They're trying to get people to compete. You know, I don't feel like I even have a friend here. You know, this is miserable. My stomach hurts. I hate going to work. Do you think I should look for a new job? And, you know, I'm like, duh. Yeah. I mean, keep your job until you get a new job. I mean, unless you're being harassed, or unless it's absolutely an abusive environment or a volatile environment. I would never stay somewhere where, you know, where it's volatile. But yeah, you know, I wouldn't work somewhere I wouldn't want to go to work. And it's not saying that every day is going to be peaches and cherries either. You know, I have days where I don't like going to work. You know, if I've got a customer that's upset about something and I know I have to talk to them, you know, usually it's great after I talk to them, like, oh, that's all we got to do to make you happy. Voila. But, you know, still, it's not like every day I'm like, woohoo. But in general, you need to do what you like to do. Life is so short. I mean, come on, it's so short. We're babies, and next thing you know, we're old and have to color our hair. Wilson.
Thank you once again. This issue I recalled when Raphael mentioned the experience issue. I've been looking at some roles, some job postings, and mostly there's the element of experience. 1, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. We are just about to graduate on 27th February. How do we deal with that question of experience? Then secondly, as an employer yourself, how do you deal with the negotiation of the salary between the interviewee and the employer?
Okay. First of all, you can't lie on your resume. You know, you just can't do it. You can't lie on your resume. Now, can you tweak stuff? Can you spin something better? Like past experience? Definitely. You know, like if you've been in the workforce for a while and maybe you weren't a software developer and analyst all this time, but you did this, you can definitely spin your resume the right way, but don't lie. Because you know, if the automatic tracking system says, oh, 3 years, and, you know, the first thing someone's going to look at is your resume. Like, I look at resumes and see how long were people at this job. And I do understand that people change jobs more often than they did in the old days where you would stay somewhere for 20 years. But if I saw someone jumping from job every 3 to 6 months, something is going to tell me that it's possibly them, I mean, maybe they're not easy to work with. Maybe they don't show up on time. Who knows? So you can't lie. But typically, this is my opinion. So, someone that's in HR might say something different. But typically, companies will be honest if they're opening up entry-level positions. And they will say, we're open to training the right person. So you kind of want to look out for those opportunities. But, if someone says, I need, a software developer that knows these 8 languages and has been doing this for 8 years, and you're just getting out of school, you can't lie. You just can't do it. So you want to find that company that's going to love you and going to give you a chance and allow you to get your foot in the door. Salary negotiations. That's kind of a hard topic to always discuss. So, I don't want to overstep any school or anything. I think when they say shoot for a salary of this much, that's fine. But I also think you need to consider the employer. And if you're shooting for a $65,000 salary and you're just coming out of school, in my humble opinion, that's a little bit high. But if you're shooting for getting your foot in the door, and you talk to an employer and you look at the big picture, and you're willing to take a hit, I'm not saying sell yourself short. Don't get hired for 30,000. No, have you seen the price of eggs lately? Come on, you went to school, you get that, I just filled up my gas tank the other day and I'm like, I really feel like I should get a free t-shirt or something with this. Granted, it was below E, but my goodness. So don't sell yourself short, but don't be ridiculous. So sometimes, there's several schools out there that are saying shoot for 65. When we talk about 65, and this is my opinion, and this is for like an entry-level position. I'm not talking about a senior level position. When you shoot for a salary, I think you should look for the whole package. So I don't want to tell you all my tricks, but one of the things like my company does for our full-time employees, we pay up to $800 for your medical insurance. So typically, if you're single or if you're married just with one kid, we pay for 100% of your medical insurance after you've been here for 90 days. That's a really darn good benefit. We also pay 100% for your dental. That's a really, really, really good benefit. Yeah. Don't be greedy when you're negotiating. Also, kind of like I said before, a smart question. And again, don't come across as you're going to be like me, because that's just obnoxious. Think of it almost like you're dating someone. Like if you go on a first date and you're like, I am so wonderful. You wouldn't believe how wonderful I am. Do you want to hear about everything wonderful I've done in my life? I'm so wonderful, 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 wonderful. And you don't even give the person a chance to go, what about me? So be careful with that. But I do think it's really smart especially if you get into a first interview and you ask questions like, what are your expectations? What would the day in a life be for me? Like, where would I work? How does this work? And I would say, do you mainly promote from within or when you have a new position open? That is a really good question. And like I said, I'm spot on because I must be a pretty good employer. I think my Glassdoor rate, it used to be terrible because people I fired were like, they're the worst company if you do one minor infraction, you know, and it's like, oh, come on. I wish I could talk about you guys up here. But anyway, we cleaned it up. But I'll just give you an example. Julie Call, my director of professional services and development, she's been with me for 29 years and she started just answering the phone. Does that tell you something? I would stick her against any MBA. She is so smart. She is so wise. You know, we train her and she has been trained on the aspects that she's trained in, but she worked her way up. Michael Kell, he's been with me, I want to say it's been 12 years. Susan Bostic, she's been with me for 7 years. All these people started somewhere and kept moving up. And when they moved up, their positions moved up, their salaries moved up. So you want to kind of consider the whole big picture. You work for a big corporation, you might get paid a lot of money, and it might be great. I'm nothing against big corporations. I'm sure they're fine. But you know, what's the environment going to be like? Do they give raises all the time? Do they do it like once a year? Do they consider? Do they promote from within? You know, so look, it's got to be reciprocal. It's got to be like a date. I mean, I don't know any other way, unless Stephanie, you've got something to input. It's got to be both ways.
I always tell people that it's like entering into a marriage when they're securing a position. So it's got to be both sides collaborating, compromising, and you have to be okay with that.
And also, again, do not be afraid in the interview to ask questions, but make sure that they're more like two-sided, like you're kind of feeling them out and you want them to feel you out. Like, I wouldn't start talking about salary in your first interview. Right now, you just want them to love you. I just want to be loved. Once they love you and it's down to you and somebody else, then you can talk salary, you know, and be open to it. And again, consider the whole big picture. Don't just consider, you know, they're going to pay me, you know, $65,000 per year. Well, if they're going to pay you 65, you know, what are the benefits? You know, are you going to be stuck at 65 for 4 years? You know, if they have one bad month, are they going to lay off 4 people? I'm out of work. Think about the whole picture. Raphael?
Thanks, Justin. So you're a business owner, and so I know that most of the talking points have been around being employed, right? What about thinking about starting your own business and the challenges of doing so? Maybe if you can share some of your experiences.
It's hard. It's hard. It's really beautiful for me personally. I'm a very free-spirited, hard-headed, get bored easily, you know, always learning type of person. And I thank God that I have a business. I really do. I mean, this business, I'm very proud of my business. I am proud from, if you look at our website, you look at my business card. Hopefully, I don't know how to show this to you. My business card, you know, I look and say, you know what? I started this when I was in my 20s, and I've competed against companies like 80 times my size, and I'm still standing, and I got through 9/11, and I got the other part that's hard is, you know, you have to grow. You have to constantly monitor your cash flow. That's like, cash flow is everything, you know, so you got to constantly be selling. You got to constantly be reinventing yourself, innovating yourself, finding new customers. You got to be cautious with your cash. That's why, I hate to tell you all my secrets, but, part of the reason, that I look at employees is I'm a huge people person, but what some employees do not know, is when you pay an employee, you're not just paying that employee that salary, you're paying them time to train them, onboarding, the systems that they use, setting them up. You also, and I won't get political, but you're also paying a heck of a lot of taxes. You're matching Social Security. So when you see your check and you see that amount going to Social Security, guess who's matching that? Oh, Kirsten Austin is, or whoever your employer is. You're matching Medicaid. I'm in St. Louis, so when St. Louis proper. So when I have a little letter and I explain to people about their first paycheck, because they're like, what in the heck? Why is this being taken out of my paycheck? Well, the city of St. Louis takes 1% of your money. Now, would I love to talk to them and ask for a little bit more? I would. I would like some lights behind my building. I'd like the streets cleaned up better, but I'm not going to make any enemies here in St. Louis. I love St. Louis. I'm STL all the way. I love being an entrepreneur. I would not be able to do any other one. I mean, I would probably get fired if I went and worked for you guys. I mean, you would tell me something to do and I'd be like, but Raphael, you could do it so much better than, this way with the two things. You'd be like, Kirsten, sorry, hit it, so I love it, but it is a commitment. It's very, very, very challenging. There are, and you can get burned out too. And you can get burned out in any job, but one of the things that I personally have to be careful of being a business owner is I get burnt out because I can go and go and go. Like, I'm having so much fun with you guys tonight. I could probably talk to you till 10. I could, but I highly think that owning your own business is very admirable. And if you ever want to talk to me one-on-one, I'd be happy to give you some tips on what I did to build this business and stay in business.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I'm just thinking that for everyone, I think that should be an option to think about, right?
Yeah. And the other thing, like I have developers that I hire directly, but I have one subcontracted developer, and he owns his own business for, a lot of reasons. First of all, he used a portion of his house. So there's some tax benefits there. And then he works for very large corporations doing very small jobs. But, like, he's great. And I've been working with him for 8 years. And, he charged me a straight amount per hour, and it's not cheap. But like, for instance, right now, we're trying to get this big project done. Every year we have to certify with the shipping carriers. So with like FedEx and UPS, et cetera. And FedEx has changed all of their coding over. It's like, it used to be an older API, like I think XML or something like that. Now they're changing it to something called JSON. So we got to rewrite all of our connectors. And I'm not a developer, so if I'm making myself sound stupid, I'm not a developer. But all I can tell you is it's taking forever. And I'm asking my team, I'm like, we have other projects that we're getting paid for. Are you not done with the FedEx stuff? So, oh, cool, Jada. So, basically, my contractor, I call him, I'm like, Mike, are you super busy right now? And he goes, no, I'm actually sitting on the fence. I was going to call you. I'm like, hey, we need some help with this. Can you give me like 15 hours this week? He's like, absolutely. So yeah, I don't see anything wrong with potentially starting your own business. But then again, you got to market yourself. You can't be a secret.
Same principles apply. Yeah, that's true.
Just like marketing yourself. If you're out there looking for jobs, same thing with your business.
The only difference is that if you don't make money, you don't get paid. It's your business, right?
I will be very honest with you, and no one believes this. I almost got in a fight on LinkedIn, but I thought, oh no, this wouldn't be appropriate. But there was like this girl that, you know, I just can't stand that entitled. I don't know how to explain it. It's just, I don't like, there's certain people that just rub me the wrong way, but you know, I waited tables and bartended for the first 3 years that I had this business and did not take a paycheck from DCSC. Any money I earned, I put in this business because no banks wanted to give me money because we're software. We don't have anything for them to take away. I mean, even now, now we have a published software and we have some, you know, we have something, but seriously, what are you going to take? What are you going to take? My monitor? My desk? You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So it's definitely challenging being an entrepreneur, but I also love it. There are so many times I'm just like, you know, last week, one of my employees just did something so good. And I was so excited. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, how did you tell me how you did it? And she was just like, well, I was just thinking if we did this and did that, why wouldn't we just do that? And then I just played with it because we play with software. Like we attack the software until we break something. I mean, we're software people, you know, and she goes, and it worked. And then I did it again and repeated it again, made sure it worked. And now it's done. And I'm like, how long did it take you? An hour. And this is going to save our clients like so much time. Like, I'm like, you have no idea what you just did. Those days are good, you know. I don't know, when you can help somebody is good. Like I like this is phenomenal, you know. And one day I hope to hire somebody from SavvyCoders because I never knew about y'all. So yeah, there's a lot of there's good and bad. Nothing in life is free. Nothing is easy in life. If anything comes too easy, trust me, there's a serious issue there. Just be careful in dealing with people and dealing with businesses and dealing with anything.
All right, awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Kirsten. This is phenomenal. I will post the recordings as they render. So it might not be until I wake up in the morning, possibly. So, Mark, did you have a question or?
Hit the wrong button. Sorry.
Gotcha. Okay. Lucy, did you have a question?
Yeah, I did have a question though. Someone posted the link to Kirsten Austin's LinkedIn. I tried to find it earlier, but I couldn't find it.
In your class Slack channel. It's in the original message that I posted. So
Thank you.
my ask to you guys was to check her out on LinkedIn and come up with some questions. So
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome, guys. All right. Well, Kirsten, thank you so much for being here.
I really hope I did a good job for you. You know, I could talk about this stuff forever, but I'm like, did I do a good job for you all? Was this useful?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lots of great questions.
I think she did a really good job. She did a really great job. Like, it was like a real down to earth feel for it. Like I can understand. And I feel like I don't know for everyone else, I didn't have very many questions for it because she did a great job covering everything. Now it's everything else is so interesting. But I'm pretty sure I know I learned a lot from it. So yeah, I think you did great.
Awesome.
Thank you. I had fun. I almost feel like I know you guys. I almost feel like we should order a pizza or something, but I guess I can't do that here. I'm gonna take off. But you know, have a wonderful night. So Stephanie, do I just hit the red button to sign off here?
Yes.
All right. Good night. Thank you all for your time. I really, really appreciate that you all were on this call for so long. And don't be a stranger. You can hook me up on LinkedIn and, you know, and definitely take a look at, I did give you, Stephanie, the Getting to Know Kirsten Austin blog, because there's some really good things that you could learn from. And, you know, it's free and I would do it. It could make you a little bit more prepared when you start talking to employers. Bye, y'all. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.
All right, guys, thank you for hanging out and listening and asking some really great questions. Feel free to connect with Kirsten on LinkedIn. By all means, please do. She's a wealth of information and has a ton of connections here in St. Louis and across the nation. So use her as a resource. Don't stalk her or be, inappropriate, but no, she's fantastic. Do you guys have any questions?